Well, we're really thankful to have in studio here today Mr. Christopher Ouellette. And for those of you who know Christopher and his family, your wife's Amy, and you've got two daughters, Eowyn and Istra.
I do. They are fantastic. You should have been interviewing them. You got the short end of the stick here.
Well, you're the head, you're the founder, you're the heart and soul of Chesterton Stage Productions.
And officially, I'm the executive director.
The executive director, which is it's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about Chesterton Stage Productions?
Chesterton Stage Productions is a Christian theater group. What we do the most is educational theater, which is where we teach acting while preparing for a show. So we have education scheduled in with the rehearsal. That way you can start at whatever level. Like right now we're doing Godspell, and there are people who are close to their 20th show, and there are people this is their first time doing theater.
Wow.
And by the time we get to the stage, they are always such a cohesive group that nobody's ever been like, oh, I could tell that was their first time. Like, it just goes really well. And we will do things, we range in what we do. Obviously, as a Christian, we never do anything that goes against the scriptures in general. Okay, almost every show has some very hoity-toity Christian symbolism that, yeah. But hoity-toity. Like in Coraline, when you watch the monsters and the singing and the cat, and then afterwards you realize that the only child descended into the depths to stop the devil and rescue her people. And it's like, that was so good. Anyway, that was the first one we did here, and you were just wonderful for letting us, because our other venue fell through at the last moment.
Yeah, I should say. So a lot of the productions recently that you've done some of the teaching and the practicing, the rehearsing right here at the church.
Yes.
In the chapel.
Yes, and I so appreciate that, and that when you guys put in that stage, that was just amazing.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
That's true for coffee house and everything else. So how did you? Now, first of all, you mentioned that you're working on Godspell.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Godspell.
Godspell has always been like a dream of mine in the back of my head. This is only our second musical as Chesterton Stage Productions. It's my third musical because I did Mary Poppins for a different group. But it is a play. The writer, whose name I should have remembered, it's like John Michael or Michael something. Okay, look it up. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But he had read the Gospel of Matthew, and he was so filled with joy after reading that he was going to go back to he had some spiritual heritage, and he was going to go to church that week. And it turned out to be Easter, and he went to church, and it was a rainy Easter. And even though it was Easter, he said most of the parents there were all just mad that they weren't going to get good photos with their kids in their Easter outfits, and that the priest was just mumbling into a microphone in an obligatory manner. And when he was leaving, he was wearing a T-shirt and overalls, and somebody thought he might be just some homeless guy who wandered in. So an off-duty cop wanted to frisk him for drugs.
Wow.
And he left thinking, I went to an Easter service where they left Christ in the tomb.
Interesting.
And so Godspell is based on a lot of things. And there's I'm reading a Harvard theological book that he had read at the time. And but he was saying that he wanted to present the joy he felt when reading the gospel. But the ending of it is a little like, just spoil the ending. Jesus gets crucified. But when they're bringing him off, they are singing Long Live God, and then Prepare Thee the Way, and then Day by Day. And the resurrection is sort of implied in the curtain call, because it talks about, like, the main crux, when you get to the exact almost middle of the play, it's the story of Abraham Abraham's bosom and Lazarus and the rich man.
Yeah.
And it ends, that parable ends with, if they're not going to listen to Moses and the prophets, they're not going to listen to anyone, even if somebody would raise from the dead.
I love that part. Yeah.
So we've got that concept. The resurrection is all through it, but the ending essentially says, here's the entire thing. Are you going to leave Jesus in the grave, or are you going to accept the resurrection?
Powerful. That's
And
awesome.
the one of the things we're leaning into, and we're going to put a lot about Judas and John, like our poster is going to say Judas or John on it.
Oh, cool.
The same actor actually plays John the Baptist and then Judas. And I am stealing this from a Heath McNeese song. Am I pronouncing that wrong? The Weight of Glory album. So good. Anyway, like the idea of, are you going to prepare ye the way like John, or are you going to deny like Judas? And
Wow.
it's great that we can like bring that kind of message, but then it's silly and fun and joyous and scary, and the Pharisees in it are monsters. And I've only ever done one play that didn't have a monster, so that works.
Now, so when is this? You're working on this production. It's going to be when?
The 26th and 7th of April. It's the week after Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so on a Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
So it'll be a show Friday night.
There'll be 2 shows on Friday. There's going to be a pre-show that's going to be a little cheaper in the afternoon, and then there'll be an evening show, and Saturday we'll have a matinee and an evening show.
Wow, 4 shows. Okay,
Yes.
awesome. So, and that'll be right. That'll be in
Right
the
at the
Chapel.
Heritage Chapel stage.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's neat. So not only will the audience be blessed by the story, but I think another part where your heart is that the young people who are working on it, who might just be involved because they love theater, they love the stage, but through
Yeah.
working through the dialogue and working through the story, they're being impacted.
That is my prayer. Like I said, I've wanted to do this. I've had ideas about how to do this. A little while ago, I got to preach a sermon. Thank you, Doug Carlson. I got to preach a sermon, and I did it on community and how to build community and the need for community. And when I was done, I'm like, I wonder if anybody got anything out of this. And I thought, I wonder if I did. And thinking about community, it brought me back to this show. And that's what we're trying to do, is build it as a community. Like, I have a very definite way I want it to start, a definite way I want it to end. And other than that, like right now we're doing improv with the music and with the parables, and we're trying to have the show come out of the community. And like, it's so freeing because we can just have fun with it, but it's the gospel. It's the words of Jesus. I don't have to like try to make that have an impact. Like, the Holy Spirit is part of every word, and it's just
Christopher,
amazing.
I'm telling you, I've been around the productions now for a little while. In fact, I'm on the board.
Yes, you are.
Chesterton Stage Productions.
You're the chairman of the board.
And I have said, and you have a pastoral background, and I just want you to know, when I watch, and I've seen some of those improv stuff recently, because you guys have been practicing in the afternoons here, but you're a shepherd. You shepherd those kids, man, and it's a wonderful thing to behold. And I know that you're teaching them, you're encouraging them, but you're also modeling Christ to them, and it's an awesome thing. And so, a lot of folks in our church, if you don't know, one of the churches can serve as patrons, patrons of the arts, patrons of scholarship and study, patrons of evangelistic efforts, patrons of multimedia, and I love that our church right now is really a patron for the theater and for what you're doing, and we love and support what you're doing, especially the impact you're having on young people, and we just pray God's blessing on Godspell, and I hope it has a powerful impact. It's gonna be fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that the kids are impacted and they bring this through, because every show we do afterwards, any conversation, lines come up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just so excited about the idea that the lines are all going to be the gospel.
Yeah.
And I'm also thrilled. We sometimes do these shows, I call them ministry shows, where there is a definite Christian message, and I'm excited that this is a show you could bring friends to who have no knowledge of the gospel, who have heard of it. And it is a popular show. So you like, here's the gospel, but it doesn't feel like I'm bringing you to some thing you've never heard of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, so that's, oh, go ahead.
What other plays have you done?
Oh, we've done The Princess and the Goblin based on the George MacDonald book. We did Coraline the musical. We did Magic and The Surprise, which are both written by G.K. Chesterton, who is our namesake. Midsummer Night's Dream, one of the best. We did that, and the two compliments I loved best. One person walked out saying, I don't know what was happening, but I loved it the entire time. And another person was like, at the beginning, I was watching it and making sure I was paying attention. Halfway through, I realized I'm not translating. I'm just understanding, because the actors did such a good job of presenting what it was. Yeah, I love directing, because essentially these kids get up on stage, work their hearts out. They like give everything to their performance. They come out and they've just exploded on the stage, and everybody comes over to me and tells me what a good job I did standing in the back.
All right, well, that's it. So April 25th and 26th.
Yes.
Friday and Saturday. Got a couple of shows, 2 matinees, one on Friday, one on Saturday, and then 2 evening shows.
Yes.
One on Friday and one on Saturday. So put that on the calendar right now. It's going to be fantastic.
I am so looking forward to that.
I know, me too. I'm looking forward to it a whole lot.